are high and exalted, worthy of praise. What a wonderful Savior you are. King of all ages, King of all ages, God of all grace. What a wonderful Savior you are. You are high and exalted. You are high and exalted. You are worthy of praise. What a wonderful Savior you are. King of all ages. King of all ages. God of all grace. God of all grace. What a wonderful Savior you are. Great Redeemer, sing. Great Redeemer. Ancient of days. Seed of Abraham. Seed of Abraham. Name above all names. Judah's Lion. Bright morning star. Bright morning star. What a wonderful, glorious, marvelous Savior you are. You are the Savior of my soul. Sing. You are high and exalted. You are high and exalted. Worthy of praise. Worthy of praise. What a wonderful Savior you are. King of all ages. King of all ages. God of all grace. God of all grace. What a wonderful Savior you are. Oh, 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 oh. Great Redeemer. Great Redeemer. Ancient of days. Seed of Abraham. Name above all names. Judah's Lion. Bright morning star. What a wonderful, glorious, marvelous Savior. Great Redeemer. Ancient of days. Seed of Abraham. Name above all names. Judah's Lion. Bright morning star. What a wonderful, glorious, marvelous Savior you are. You are the Savior of our souls, and we thank you, Lord. Savior, Savior you are. We thank you, Lord. So that's why we call you wonderful, wonderful, glorious, glorious, marvelous, marvelous. You are. Can you just tell the Lord this morning? Wonderful. Say you're glorious. Glorious. Yes, you're marvelous. Marvelous. You are. You are. You are. Wonderful. You're glorious. Glorious. Marvelous. Marvelous. You are. You are. Wonderful. Glorious. Glorious. You are marvelous. Marvelous. You are. You are. Come on, say it together. Wonderful. Wonderful. Glorious. Glorious. Marvelous. Marvelous. You are. You are. Wonderful. Glorious. Glorious. Marvelous. Marvelous. Jesus, you are. Jesus, you are. Wonderful. Glorious. Glorious. Marvelous. Marvelous. You are. Wonderful. Glorious. Glorious. Marvelous. Marvelous. Jesus, you are. Wonderful. Glorious. Glorious. Marvelous. You are. Wonderful. Glorious. Glorious. Marvelous. Marvelous. Jesus, you are. Wonderful. What a wonderful, glorious. What a wonderful, glorious, marvelous Savior you are. You are the Savior of my soul. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Savior you are. Now I wonder if you can make it personal for yourself now. Just say, wonderful, wonderful, glorious, marvelous. You are, say, you are. Wonderful, glorious, marvelous. You are. When I think about God and all that God has done for me personally, my soul cries out in adoration and thanksgiving because I realize that the things that God does in our lives from season to season, there is an experience of God's wonder, an experience of God's glory, an experience of God's marvelous works. And I bet if you just look back over your life, you'll be able to pick out times where God has demonstrated something marvelous, demonstrated something glorious in your life. And your soul just begins to well up in gratitude and joy and adoration. As we cry out together, I wonder, can we just say those simple words together? Oh, say, wonderful, glorious, marvelous, you are. Oh, wonderful, glorious, marvelous, you are. One last time, say, wonderful, glorious, marvelous, you are. Ooh, wonderful, glorious, marvelous, you are.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, big and humble. Ding dong, that is our song. Dear joyful ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they sound, raising the sound. Oh, hear the din, telling the tale. Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Merry, 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 ding dong. Merry, 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 ding dong. Long on they sing, long without end. Dear joyful tone to every home. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, big and humble. Ding dong, that is our song. With joyful ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they sound, raising the sound. Oh, hear the din, telling the tale. Gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Merry, 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 ding dong. Merry, 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 ding dong. Long on they sing, long without end. Their joyful tone to every home.
Long they send on without end their joyful tone to every home.
Ding dong, ding dong.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for having me over. It has been so long. Now that I'm here, I have to ask. You seem distracted lately, not quite yourself. Are you okay?
How are you going to put me on the spot like that, though?
Well, you know.
But thanks for noticing, I guess. I feel like this time of year is supposed to be spent being happy and thankful for all that you have and all that you can get. But I feel like something's missing. And I don't know if it's loneliness or emptiness, but I'm really beginning to think a lot about this adoption that I'm trying to get. And I just really didn't want to worry you while I know you're taking care of your father while he's sick.
Well, I'm sorry to hear all of this. And I'm sorry I've neglected our time together and I haven't been for you to tell me what's going on. I know that with what we're both going through, it seems like my father's health has consumed so much of my time recently, and but I can tell you that you have my full attention, and I'm here now if you'd like to talk.
Thanks. And I mean, we're both grown, and we have lives, and I get that. And you've always been there for me when I needed you. And I love that we have this friendship where we can be apart for God knows how long.
Right.
And then come back like nothing ever happened. And I just feel like recently we've been so apart. And I don't know. I haven't really been talking as much as I want to.
Well, Lord knows I know, and I get it. I understand. Sometimes life literally eats up all the positive energy I can even stand to muster. Get it?
Okay, same. But believe me, I'm not complaining about the time you need to spend with your dad. That time is so precious. I know you love him, and I love him too, almost like he was my own dad. And he's always been our biggest supporter, from our late night softball practices to you starting your PhD, which is awesome, by the way. And I don't know, perhaps my heart is hurting too with you, because we really don't know how much time he has left. And it seems like I'm always worrying, and that just adds to it.
Well, of course, I would prefer you not to worry at all. But if you must, please don't fret about me and my father. The time I spend with him is wonderfully positive. He seems to just share so much more these days. He really opens up and tells me how he's really feeling. That in itself is a blessing. And then, oh my goodness, when we talk about you, his eyes just light up about this whole adoption process.
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Girl, what do you say?
Well, my father, he talks very philosophically. And he's like all about the circle of life these days, but more so about the birth and rebirth and just the newness in a child.
Huh.
Right.
Who'd ever thought that your tough-minded, close-hearted father would ever turn into a philosopher?
You're telling me.
That kind of reminds me of a Sour Patch Kid.
Yes.
Sour and sweet.
Yes.
I see how you value your time with him, and it is so beautiful that you don't seem to worry about anything.
Well, I don't know about that. There's some truth to it. But these days, I'm just so glad that he talks, and I listen intently. His words just seem to carry so much power and just emotion anymore. And he really seems to just talk from his heart, especially about children now. I mean, he talks literally about how a child can change everything. And especially when he and I talk about you and this Christ-like love that you have, we see the nurturing and gentle side of you that maybe not everyone gets to see.
The side I tried to hide deep, deep down. I wish that you and your father were the ones making the decision about my adoption. And I want to think that the next stage of my life has something more than a goldfish. But I want to nurture and I want to love unconditionally. But then I think about how I might come off to the adoption agency. Someone that doesn't necessarily identify with their birth gender can be labeled as non-traditional, and that just doesn't really go to the top of anybody's adoption list these days.
I get it, I do. And it's a tough thing to think about, but you can't worry. I mean, it's not going to change the outcome.
You're right. But I'm just so tired of having to defend myself again and again and again 10 more times of being an atypical parent and, like I said, non-traditional. It's just exhausting.
I hear you.
And I'm angry, but sometimes I'm also sad. And I just wish that the decision makers could see me for who I am and for what I can bring to a child.
Kind of the way God does. And let's just be thankful, that we have a God that we can lean on. God is so powerful and omnipotent even.
I know that's right.
And let's just remember how good he's been to us.
Sister, hallelujah, I do, okay?
But see, then, when we remember that about God, then we can just expect that all will go according to his plan. With all that we're going through lately, let's just try to remain hopeful, be patient, and persistent. And let's just have faith that God will open the eyes of those who have been spiritually blinded by all sorts of things in life. I mean, isn't that what the birth of Jesus was really all about?
Yeah, 100%.
This thought actually just occurred to me. It's Christmas time, and here we are waiting the results to your adoption any day now. And here you're so worried. And see, the paradox here is that you're anxious about not getting a child. Compare that to the burden of Mary and Joseph and the angst they felt when they received the news that they were getting a child. It's crazy to think that with God, nothing, truly nothing, is impossible. And how a child, a baby, could really change everything.
That's a lot to take in.
I have traveled many moonless nights, cold and weary, with a baby inside, and I wonder what I've done. Holy Father, you have come and chosen me now to carry your Son. I am waiting in a silent prayer. I am frightened by the load I bear in a world as cold as stone. Must I walk this path alone? Be with me now. Be with me now. Breath of heaven, hold me together. Be forever near me. Breath of heaven. Breath of heaven, lighten my darkness. Pour over me your holiness, for you are holy. Breath of heaven. Do you wonder as you watch my face if a wiser one should have had my place? But I offer all I am for the mercy of your plan. Help me be strong. Help me be. Help
remember, Mary was not always this peaceful. It was with turmoil deep inside as she heard these words. Behold, you will conceive in your womb and bear a son. You shall name him Jesus.
No. What? This can't be true. This has to be a mistake. I've never been with Joseph or any man in that way. This can't be true. What? Was that even an angel, or am I just going crazy? I'm so confused. And yet, the angel seemed so real. If this is true, I'm terrified.
Mary hears the voice of an angel saying, Mary, do not be afraid. You have found favor with God.
Favor? Who am I that God would show me favor? I'm a poor commoner. I'm a nobody. Why would God choose me?
And the angel continues, God sees more where others find less. He sees power and tenderness and great things exploding out of smallness.
If this is true, I'm heartbroken. Just yesterday, I was working joyfully with my sisters. Being with them makes even the most meaningless tasks wonderful. And now, those will be just distant memories of a wonderful time in the past. Nothing will be the same. A baby changes everything. And I will be alone.
And the heavenly voice says to her, above all else, remember, nothing will be impossible with God.
Joseph. What am I going to tell Joseph? He is a kind, loving man, and I love him, and he loves me. Or should I say, he loved me. Nothing is going to be the same. Everything will be different now. If this is all true, everything will change. I must go to Joseph and tell him.
Everything was so simple, so easy, and in an instant it's vanished. The girl I love, now a woman, reveals to me that she's having a baby, and that baby is not mine? Where do I go from here? Who can I tell? This all just sounds like a story. But if it's true, there's no one I can tell. My friends, my family, I'm too ashamed. I don't know if I want to or can trust Mary. I mean, she was my beloved, my confidant. And now I don't have her? Who can I turn to? Okay, God, I'm here, but know that I'm angry. Not only is Mary supposedly with child, but according to her, you have some hand in this? It really makes no sense whatsoever. Do you realize the embarrassment, the shame, the utter disgrace that this will bring? Not to mention she could be stoned. She could die.
Now Joseph hears from God's messenger. Think, Joseph. Trust, Joseph. Believe, Joseph.
I don't want to lose Mary. I love her. But I was not kind to her when she came to me with this news. How do I reconcile all of this? I feel so lost. I can't do this on my own. I am a simple carpenter. I work with wood. My grandfather reminded me that the best part of the tree is found in the center. heart would. God, help me find my center, my heart. That's it. My grandfather, my lineage, it's all true.
The holy messenger sees that Joseph is beginning to understand and validates his thinking and says, "Yes, Joseph, it was prophesied. The throne of David, your ancestor, will be turned over to your son, God's son. The miracle has begun, and even more miraculous, the kingdom that will unfold with the birth of Mary's baby, God's gift, the son you will raise. That kingdom will never end."
Thank you, God, for peace and understanding. I have to go to Mary. I want to be part of your plan. I need to show her love and acceptance now. I must go to her.
Today's the day,
This is it.
and it's here.
Yes. This is what we've been waiting for. Yeah, you've got this. What does it say?
Woo!
Yes? Good news?
Holy moly! Oh, they
did it?
saw me!
Yes! I'm so happy for you. This is what we've prayed for. Yes. Congrats! Oh my goodness.
Wow.
This is such a blessing. And just think, now this Christmas we have so much more to prepare for. There's the nursery, the cribs, the toys, the blankets, and the diapers.
Don't say diapers.
The diapers. Oh, but it's such a blessing.
And you know, there's really one thing that I can think about right now. You know what it is?
The diapers.
No. It's the time the other day when you brought up the birth of Jesus. And it's kind of really resonating with me right now.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, I want to create a vacancy in my heart that then I can fill and use to fill others. Thank you.
Thank you for believing me. What do we do next?
We have God, we have each other, but there's going to be people that don't understand and don't accept it. But we must go.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angel voices. Oh, night divine. Oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine. Oh, night divine. Truly, he's taught us to love one another. law is love, and his gospel is peace. Chains he shall break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression will cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chords raise we, let all within us praise his holy name. Fall on your knees, oh hear the angel voices, oh night divine, oh night when Christ was born, oh night divine, oh night, oh night
I hate being a shepherd.
What do you mean?
Well, for example, now the sheep are going to go to bed early tonight to stay warm because it's so cold outside. But for us, it's going to be cold and dark and boring.
Well, we've got this flat rock here to build a campfire, and there's an occasional wolf out there to scare away. And we have a wineskin of wine right back there to keep us warm.
Exactly. Boring. But the more I think about it, it's more than just about a boring, dirty job.
Well, you know, it could be the way we smell, you know. Being around sheep all day, that's not too enduring to some people.
Good point. I guess it is kind of funny when you think about it, but, you know, it's about the way that people treat us when we do make it into town. I mean, they treat us like third-rate citizens. And do you ever notice how the families pull their kids in close when we walk by? I mean, it's like they think we're going to hurt them or something.
I know, like we're going to go up and rob them, so they grab their purses and they hide, like, you know, we're going to take what they've got.
Yeah, I have never hurt anyone in my entire life. I don't even think thoughts like that.
I know.
I guess I'm just tired of feeling like scum, and being treated suspiciously. And I guess I'm tired of feeling disconnected and misunderstood. It really hurts.
I know. I hope that someday that someone or something will change people so they don't just judge others before they get to know them. It really hurts.
The messenger from God speaks to the shepherds and says, "Your hope has served you well. Do not be afraid, for I have good news. A new king has been born in Bethlehem. The star you have seen will lead you to him. Know this as well. His name shall be called Wonderful."
Well, should we go find this baby?
No, you go on ahead. I'll catch up.
Oh, okay.
Somehow I feel differently with this news. I feel warm.
Unto us, holy night, unto us, under a new star's light, lambs have fed, gently laid in a manger bed. Unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and his name shall be called Wonderful, for the will be will be an unfailing counselor, each uncertain hour. The holy God of heaven above, now
I am totally exhausted. My entire body, from head to toe, aches. We have traveled so far. I never imagined this journey would take so long.
And be so difficult. I like sleeping in my palace bed so much better.
Agreed. But that star leading us to the birth of a special baby, I mean, that was almost too intriguing to resist. Very interesting.
Indeed, interesting, but still just a story. We have not confirmed, we haven't verified, but let's assume that we find this birthplace, we find the child, and the story turns out to be true. Could this child be any more interesting, any more important, any more special than we?
Oh, and don't forget the invitation that we received from King Herod.
Yes, King Herod must have been foretold about our wisdom and our wealth and our power and our strength. We were simply inquiring about the child when he extended the private welcome.
I too found that interesting. But even more interesting was the fact that he has invited us back after we find the child. And he seemed to anticipate information that we might be able to bring him. But the most interesting, all of that conversation was tinged with fear. I saw fear in Herod's eyes. Perhaps he was simply frightened by our size.
Maybe what we find with this baby will give us some answers. And then we can tell Herod, and then we can return home.
Sounds good.
Let's continue.
Mary, Joseph, is this the baby Jesus? May we hold him? It is true.
Oh, yes. This is the child. Oh, my. Oh. This is the child. Oh. Bless. My soul, my spirit feels as if it has just been blessed with a wonderful and blessed meal.
I believe we have found the source of the fear I saw in Herod's eyes.
Mary, Joseph, we will not be returning to Herod as he requested. Instead, we will turn towards our home with the good news that we have met the Christ child, seen the face of God, and bowed to a true king. But before we go, we have just one question.
Mary, do you know that this baby boy will one day walk on water? Mary, do you know that your baby boy will save our sons and daughters? Your baby boy will one day make you new. This child that you deliver will soon deliver you.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? And this child that you deliver will soon deliver you. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would give sight to the blind man? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would calm a storm with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? And when you kiss your little baby, you've kissed the face of God. Mary, did you know? No. Mary, did you know? No, 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 no. The blind will see, the deaf will hear, the dead will live again. The lame will speak, the dumb will speak, the praises of the Lord. Mary, did you know that your baby boy is Lord of all creation? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day rule the nations? Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb, and the sleeping child holding is the great I am, the great I am. Mary, did you know?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.